G'day everybody, it's Danny from Botany Danny here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all things plants. I'm from Australia and also sometimes dabble in fish keeping, fish breeding and shrimp. And in this video today I'm going to talk about some of my shrimp tank building regrets. I've had about 2 goes at this. I started with some red cherry shrimps. They didn't do too well. Unfortunately, they didn't survive and the tank had a leak and I just had to move it outside. It was all a big schmozzle. But my yellow bolt, I guess you can call them cherry shrimp still, they've actually really thrived in this tank. And believe it or not, I got this tank from Kmart for like $40, which is a bargain. But there are a couple of regrets that I have, and I think what I like to say regrets is kind of like learning experiences. So if I were to redo this tank and redo it again, I guess these are things that I'd probably change. Now, one thing I'm really proud of before I start talking about my regrets is the fact that this tank is self-sustaining. The ecosystem has cycled through the tank. All I really need to do with this tank is top it up with water. And believe it or not, I don't actually use tap water. In fact, I actually buy supermarket demineralized water where I literally just pour it in, top it up, and since day dot, I've not actually changed any of this water. I've just basically topped it up whenever it's evaporated, and the shrimp are happy as Larry. And I think that's one thing to note about cherry shrimp, is that shrimp are super sensitive. So if you change too much water, even like this much, they're gonna go into shock. They're not gonna really be happy, and you might find that some of your shrimp will die. So this leads me on to my regrets. Regret number 1 is basically choosing shrimp a little bit more selectively. At the beginning of the whole process, I was like, oh, I just want them to survive. And I checked every day and I sat here in this spot every day and just kind of watched them grow. And I think I just really wanted to feel successful. Now that they're successful, I realized that the shrimp that I initially got, so my initial pool, I had 5 yellows and then 1 sunset. I didn't realize that in order to continue that color throughout the sub-generations, especially when they breed, and I'm really happy that my shrimp have bred, they start to lose that color. In fact, the first, second, and even third generation baby shrimp are coming out less yellow, more clearer, and turning kind of like a gray color, kind of like what they would normally look in their natural habitat. And I know these shrimp have been genetically selected over time, and I realized that by having not a pure pool of yellow shrimp and having that sunset shrimp in the mix, it's kind of really muddled up some of the baby shrimp that are coming up, and some of them are actually turning out fully clear. So I guess that is one regret, is that maybe if I started a new tank, I'd be more precise about what sort of shrimp I'd include and making sure that the breed or the parent breeds of those shrimp are going to be pure. Regret number 2 is filling my tank with very old shrimp. Sometimes I'd go into an aquarium and be like, oh, I like that color, I like how bold it is, and I'd put it in the tank, but then realize that, you know what, that shrimp is too old. It might not reproduce, it might not be able to produce eggs, and I think, and feel free to correct me, I think when shrimp are younger, they're actually male, and as they become older, they actually become female, and that's when they start developing their bodies to be able to carry the eggs. Not sure if that's 100% true. Please fact check me on that one. But yeah, so buying the younger shrimp are going to ensure that they're probably going to survive a little bit longer. They're going to be a bit more hardy, and I'm going to be able to get a lot more baby shrimp out of them. Tip number 3 is more about the setup of the tank. When I started this, and as a noob, I was like, oh, let's quickly put Java moss and plants and lava rocks. Lava rocks were probably one of the best type of rocks to put into this tank. In fact, the lava rocks kind of have the minerals that help to, I guess, leach out into the tank that the shrimp actually use to build their shells. And so I found lava rocks were actually such a great addition to the tank. I got massive amounts of lava rock in here. I think initially when I started, I'd drop in like mineral blocks, but you know what? I don't even drop mineral blocks anymore. I feed my shrimp these protein bits, these like Hikaru protein shrimp sticks, and they love it, and it's got full of the calcium that they need to build strong shells, which I think is why they've lasted so long. But my big regret isn't about the shrimp, but it's the little friends that I've added with the shrimp. These bladder snails. I added like 2, and all of a sudden they've multiplied to like 100. I think in hindsight, I don't think I would have added the snails at all. I think the shrimp would have done the job of cleaning the tank, eating the algae. And so now, every time I look at my tank, it's just spotted full of like tons of snails. And my last regret is probably when I first started my first tank. I think I was really over obsessing about all of the different water parameters, the GH, the iron content, the pH. And so I think I got a little bit freaked out. And so I think I was really hypersensitive to every single thing that was happening in the tank. And so I think if I started this process again, I'd probably let the tank cycle a little bit more. I would probably start establishing some of the plants. I would also use some products that hopefully neutralize some of the nitrates in the water. But I think in general, I think I could have taken a little bit more of a backseat, let the tank kind of build up a bit more algae, especially on the walls and on the rocks and on the plants, before adding my lovely shrimp in it. And shrimp are super sensitive. Sometimes you, even with all the parameters that are right, sometimes you still can't work out why they just won't survive. And in this case, this has survived. And in my red cherry shrimp tank, they didn't. So go figure. So that's what I've learned so far about keeping shrimp. I mean, I love them. I call them the sheep of the like aquarium hobby world. So if you really enjoyed sharing my regrets, then subscribe to my video and check out some of my other content on my main page. This is Danny saying it. I hope to chat to you again soon. See you later. Goodbye.